Oh shit, I have to intro. Hello friends. I am surrounded by enormous piles of fabric. You may have seen my first video in which I talked about how I'm going to be going through my fabric stash and figuring out what I'm going to keep, what I'm not going to keep, what has plagued me for too long. The first video is the useful one in which I talk about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, what my thinking is. This video is the self-indulgent one where I sit here and go through everything in my stash one by one and just talk about why I'm keeping or getting rid of it and if there's any particular projects I have in mind. There's a slightly double-barreled element to this because I also went through my patterns to find 1940s stuff. I have a 1940s game coming up in a fortnight, which I haven't been working on because I'm useless. That's a lie. I haven't been working on it because I've spent basically an entire week crying about Regenesis. But we won't talk about that now. Anyway, nice thing about playing a 1940s game is that if I only have one dress, that's not actually a problem because rationing. So I'm going to have these on hand so I can check yardages and see whether there's specific stuff I can probably use for it. But also, I have a new job, so I'm going to need clothes for that new job, and some of these seem like a nice starting place. I might just kind of work my way through my pattern stash one decade at a time. It's actually not a bad idea. I have an awful lot of patterns that I've never used. We'll park that one. So without further ado, let us begin. This is, I think it's 3 meters and 5 meters, I could be wrong. They are silk satins. One is, you're not going to see this. One's chocolate brown. In fact, I wouldn't even say that was chocolate brown. That's like dark brown. Anyway, one's dark brown, one's burgundy. They are allegedly silk satins. I haven't tested them. I could test them. We'll do burn tests in another video. So they are staying. They were specifically for Adelaide Palmer, who's my gothic character, which is a 1880s Victorian game, so bustle dresses all the way, so they're gonna stay. Also, I bought 5 meters of this wool, pre-cut remnant that someone was destashing on eBay, intending to make Empire kit out of it. I didn't do Empire this year because my life exploded, so I ended up using it for Regenesis. I made a coat out of it. The coat looks amazing, I'm really happy, but I had like a good bit of this left. I think I've actually got like nearly a meter. It's enough for a skirt. That is a keep, and that is going to be probably something for me rather than LARP kit. Don't think it'll work for 1940s though, so... Oh, it's all the garbage first. Okay, oh crap, this is cotton organdy. Damn, I ended up ordering this from India years ago because I couldn't find cotton organdy anywhere. Organdy is organza, but cotton. So this is 100% cotton. It's basically see-through, but really crisp, like ridiculously crisp. I should use that for something. That is an amazing thing to have around. It needs some serious TLC. I might have to iron it and refold it. Amazing stuff, definitely keep. It's fine. This is exactly the kind of thing that I would tell anyone else to throw away. This was part of a ruffle for an outfit for a cosplay that I made over 10 years ago. And I would throw it away, but this side is silk satin. Very expensive silk satin. And I have a project coming up that will specifically need a lot of white silk fabric, so don't judge me. Very crisp batik cotton. This fabric, actually, my mum brought it back from Nigeria. I have a skirt made from this, from a 1950s pattern. It's great, I love it. I don't know what I'm going to do with the leftovers, probably maybe a matching jacket. Either way, yeah, 100%. I wear that skirt all the time, I really like it. It's a really usable fabric and colour, good, stays, good stuff. More of that white leftover satin, it stays for that secret project. This is a whole pile of silk crepe ruffles. So I hand traced these scallops onto silk crepe and then very carefully sewed over them with the scallop stitch on the machine, and then fray checked it and then cut them out individually. And I never finished that cosplay. Again, this was about 10 years ago. Those were a complete and total bastard to make. So I'm keeping them because I'm going to use them for something. I've got to use them for something. This is White Wedding Kimono number 1. I have in my life owned 6 wedding kimono, all of which were second-hand. The big red uchikake I sold on. The fancy red kakeshita I still have. I've been trying to sell it, it's not sold. I may end up doing what I did with the rayon kakeshita, red kakeshita, which is that I turn it into another one of Adelaide's dresses. There's the black kakeshita with the red and gold embroidery. That was for my Regenesis backup character, who not only did I not get to play, I will never get to play because he died off screen. So I don't know what I'm doing with that. That's not in this pile, I don't think, because I can't get ambushed by those feelings. But I had 2 white ones, one of which I bought off a larper who'd worn it in a field, and therefore it not only had mud all along the hem, it had fake blood on it too. And not the good kind of fake blood, the kind of fake blood that doesn't come out. So that became my Regenesis ball gown for One Last Dance. And then this was the other one that I bought in Japan and thought I could rescue, and it turns out I could not. It's really badly age damaged, it was really badly faded, it's silk, so it was perished at the shoulders because it had been displayed and they're so heavy, and it hadn't been displayed properly. It had been on a hanger instead of on a pole that goes the whole length of the sleeves. It's a whole thing. Anyway, you don't need to know that. What you need to know is that I cut this one up, unpicked it, because there was just no way of using it as a kimono anymore. Oh look, there's more silk ruffles. And I'm now remembering that I cut this up because it was going to become a bustle dress for probably Adelaide. I need to make a whole load of bustle dresses. Adelaide is going to have a ridiculous wardrobe, and we're just going to put all that quietly on the keep pile. There was a point at which I bought plain white 100% £1.50 a metre cotton by the roll. I honestly should get back into that habit. Oh yeah, no, these are sheets. White cotton, incredibly useful. You can dye it, you can flatline things with it, you can do basically anything. You can make all your undergarments white cotton stays. There's no question about white cotton staying. That is a brown paper bag. That is a triangle of cotton organdy that I was using as a fichu, and it has a big stain on it. So that's great, it stays. I'll figure something out to do with it. I'll probably flatline something with it because that's perfect for that. Synthetic crepe. No. That is a top. That is a fully made... Oh, I see. It's supposed to have elastic in it. Yeah, okay. I should finish that. I should get some elastic and finish that. That will go in a separate pile. Ooh, okay. This is a... probably cotton. This is a white seersucker, which I picked up in a charity shop for £2. There's nearly 3 metres. I know exactly what I was going to make with this. I was going to either make a couple of blouses. Could I make a 1940s blouse out of this? Maybe. But I also was going to make a shirt dress out of it because I have a white shirt dress that I wear all the time, and it's horrible because it's from Primark, but I love wearing it, so I was going to make an actual proper shirt dress that's not awful. So I might make a shirt dress out of this rather than a blouse. But anyway, it stays. Tartan! This is an unpicked kilt. It's 100% wool, so I'm keeping it, even though no LARPers let you wear tartan, bastards. Because it's 100% wool and I can line another fabric in it and it'll be super warm and that stays. Ugh! I remember this. Linen was on sale. So this is 8 meters of brown linen. And I remember exactly what I wanted to make. Again, this was supposed to be Empire kit and it was going to be one of those stupid Game of Thrones dresses. And I have another fabric that I was going to use for the contrast. But I've never actually put them side by side and figured out whether or not that would work. So we should do that later. But for now, this is going in the keep pile because worst case scenario, I make myself a summer suit out of it. But I hope I can make a top dress out of it because I'd like one of those stupid Game of Thrones dresses with the enormous sleeves. Still going. Oh, what's next? This is a sheet. I think this is a sheet that we were given and it's a king size rather than a double, though, so we couldn't use it. Anyway, it's lining material now, so that stays. Okay, dilemma. On the one hand, black lace, incredibly useful. On the other hand, it's this big. That's going in a maybe pile. No. Okay, this is vaguely embarrassing. So this was the front panel of a Regency dress that was also a cosplay, and we're not going to go into my trash past, okay? Anyway, the point is that it's a kind of decent sized panel of black broderie anglais, but also it is just this much. I think I'm going to chuck that in the maybe pile and I'll just have to see if I can maybe make a little top out of it. I could absolutely see me doing that, like a little fitted top of black broderie anglais would look great, but that's a maybe. This is 3 meters of crystal organza. This is the cheapest, nastiest, slipperiest, most uncooperative fabric in the world. And I'm pretty sure I own this because I pinned it to my head as a veil once. The problem is I can see myself using that, maybe. Oh, okay. You remember how I said don't keep fabric scraps? I feel that it's okay to make an exception when they're scraps of vintage Japanese wedding kimono with elaborate embroidery on it. I don't make the rules, I'm just saying. There's quite a lot of these. We'll take a rain check on what I do with them. Right, bits of silk. This pile is all silks, almost all silks, and mostly silk brocades. A lot of them are only big enough for like cuffs, or that isn't. That is a wool scarf that I cut a hole in to use as a Christmas tree skirt last year. I think I might back that onto some cotton and make it into an actual Christmas tree skirt, and then I don't have to worry about making a new Christmas tree skirt. Welcome to being an adult. What the bottom of your Christmas tree looks like is genuinely a thing you think about. All the black silk brocade, which is for a specific project. This stuff, which is amazing, and there's actually, for my pile of silk scraps, there's quite a bit of this. I think it's going to be at least the fronts on a kind of Victorian style waistcoat. I have so much of this. Oh, it's only this much, but just it's silk brocade and it's got pomegranates on it, and that stays. That stays. I actually have quite a lot of this and it's the most amazing colour, and I think I'm going to make a jacket or something. Love that. More black brocade and a whole load of the red brocade. This is the stuff that I made the Ace of Egrets gloves out of. So I want to use that to do more stuff for their kit. So that stays. This is a very long strip of blue tulle, which I think can go. More bits of wedding kimono, don't at me. Scrap curtain lining. No. I should throw this away. I 100% should throw this away. But it's £40 a metre silk. And that is a consideration. And then there's all this stuff, which I have no idea, but I had more of this than I thought I was going to. And again, £40 a metre brocade, so I'll figure something out. So this bag is actually kit. I'm never going to reuse it as is, and it's ketons, so they're ketons? Chitons? I don't do classics. That Greek stuff that's basically just a big duvet cover, right? Gosh, these need a wash. So I have this pink mesh. I have a skirt that's got like a pink mesh overlay very similar to this that I wear a lot. I think I could probably do an upgrade, something that's a little bit more... Yeah, no, I could use that. This gold lace, I don't know. I feel like 3 meters of gold lace is the kind of thing that one of my LARP characters would wear, and indeed has worn in the past. And probably if I found this in time for Regenesis, I would have used... Yeah, you know what? This is gonna stay. I'm gonna use that, 100%. This is a blue mesh which has tiny diamantes on it. Definitely gonna use that at some point. Actual things can go into the pile of worrying about later. This was like a decorative drape that I attached all these little resin gems to. I feel like there are more that have fallen off. That's going in a maybe pile. That's the rest of that blue. Blue. Sparkly. Nice. Oh, those toggles were good. That's going in the things pile because I don't necessarily think I'd reuse the fabric, but it is just like a white, semi-sheer, shapeless shift thing. I'm going to use that again. Blue. Purple. Lots of purple fabric with little diamantes on it. Yes. Won't wear it as is. Will chop it up for sparkles. Yes. So this was a sash. This was a remnant of Chinese brocade, which I wore as a sash. The thing is that I almost never want to use these because they're so difficult to work with. They're so obvious. They're just not good. And as you can see, they fray. Also, I don't play that game anymore, and for good reason, so no. Oh, that's Auburn's jacket. We don't, we might wear that again. So I need to throw these shoes away. And I've been holding off throwing these shoes away for 8 years because these are Swarovskis and I want them back. I need to sit down and actually take the Swarovskis off these awful shoes so I can throw them away. Oh my god. Okay. This was going to be LARP kit a very long time ago. Very, very long time ago. Honestly, the less said about this, the better. I think I might just banish that. Have you ever heard me talk about how my first ever event Regenesis kit came together very last minute? We shall move on. No, there's more. There's more blue chiffon. Just go away. This is a duvet cover. I used bits of this duvet cover a long time ago to do some cosplay stuff. And I've always kept this half because it's got this on it. And I don't know, I always just thought that at some point this was going to be a massive... Oh no! Oh no, I did think about this because I've got purple linen somewhere that I specifically got so I could make a dress and use this as the contrast in the hip gauze. Turns out I'm not a complete idiot and do occasionally keep track of what I have, so I guess this stays. It was getting dark, so I turned the light on. Too soon. Also changed the camera battery. Now I have a new SD card that can basically take all the footage in the world. My limit is the number of batteries I have charged at any one time. So, guess I know what my new coffee goal is. Let us continue. I don't know what's in this bag. Oh, that's a petticoat. This bag might be clothes rather than fabric. Oh yeah, that's where all my corsets are. Okay, I need to sort through that. No, I know what's in this bag. So obviously at some point I decided that taking up quilting was a good idea. 5 years later, I have still never made a quilt. Huh. That shouldn't be in there. That should be in the LARP memories box. This, if I remember correctly, is quite a big bit. So I do use quilting cotton to make clothes out of. I do that fairly often. I know some people don't like making clothes out of quilting cotton. I really do. I personally like the way that it washes and wears. A lot of people don't, and that's okay. I don't know how much I have of this, but it is enough to make a garment out of. Big kitschy prints is my thing, so that can stay. Oh yeah, last summer I figured out how to make tops out of fat quarters. 2 fat quarters, because I'm so small, 2 fat quarters makes a top that fits me. And if I used fat quarters that kind of coordinated and cut the neck low enough at both sides, then you had a fun little summer top that you can wear in both directions. And I cut 1, 2, 3, 4 more out than I made. I made 2 and I never got around to these ones, so I should finish those because I do wear the 2 that I have. And then we moved house and I lost track, and of course it is winter now, so I won't wear these until next summer. That's okay. That's okay. They're going in that pile of the do something with it. I cut these into strips for a reason. Oh, I was going to make a skirt. I also cut out a whole bunch to make into patchwork skirts, and I made one and I wasn't really happy with it, and I now mainly wear it as pyjamas, which I think is why I never finished this one. I might have to play with those and see if I can, because I like the idea of making these into a skirt. It's just the one that I made didn't quite, wasn't perfect. So we'll see about that. And I'm pretty sure the rest of this is just fat quarters. So I have to decide what I'm going to do with those. I don't think that's a decision I can do right now, I'm going to be honest, because they're not big enough to make clothes out of. But if I combine them, they might be. But also it doesn't make sense to me to just get rid of random, like, it doesn't make sense for me to sit here and go through and go, I like this pattern, I don't like this pattern. Because I like all of these patterns, let's be clear, but I have such small quantities of them that actually it might be that I don't particularly like a pattern a lot, but once I look at them all together I'll go, okay, with these 3 bits combined I can make an item of clothing, or indeed something for the house that's not rubbish. But if I get rid of random ones, I may not be able to do that. This is a tomorrow problem. We are chucking that over there, and that's going to be a tomorrow problem. What else have we got? So this is leftover cotton from my 12 gauge gown. It's cotton sheeting. I'll use it as lining. This is in the maybes for me. I think I'll probably end up keeping it, but it's already been hacked into, and it's just old sheets, so maybe. No. Oh, that is tiny scraps of the black wool mix that I use for frickin' everything. I don't think I ever used for a piece that small. That is synthetic chiffon, and it's got stains on it. I'm going to go no. Someone want to explain to me why I have a strip of broderie anglaise that's probably come off that. Oh no, I remember I bought a lace grab bag that just had a whole bunch of stuff in it, and some of it was useful and then some of it was this, and I don't think I have use for that. I have no memory of this. This appears to be like a metre of, I'm guessing, wool or a wool poly blend. That is an ugly brown tunic waiting to happen. Or maybe it's a 1940s skirt waiting to happen. I think that's a stay. Okay, when I listed the number of wedding kimono I've owned in my life ever, I missed one, and it's this. This again I think was worn by a LARPer because it's got tea stains on it. It's cream. I would put very good money on this being real silk. I know exactly what I'm going to make with this, and for that reason it's going to stay. Metallic silk brocade from Japan. Don't know what I'm going to make with it. Gonna make something. It's gonna be incredible. That's a bit of Mariana's dress from Friday night of the Regenesis finale. I probably don't need this bit anymore. This is a really nice green wool. And there's only a metre of it, so I have, for Waking Nightmare, I need a green military jacket. Think Sharp's rifles. No, literally think Sharp's rifles. I'm so excited. I'm not sure this is enough for a jacket. I had a second piece of this, which I made a surcoat out of, which I've worn a couple of times. The problem is that I then washed it. And in my infinite wisdom, forgot it was wool. So I have this, and I have a surcoat that is now 4 inches shorter than it was, which is still wearable, but I can't cut it up for spare fabric now if this isn't enough. So I'm kind of in two minds about that. But if not, I could make this into maybe something 1940s. I don't know, it could happen. But anyway, that's going in the keep pile for sure. Come on down. Leftover bits of green curtain fabric from making Hoa's coat. I'm going to hazard a guess I probably don't need these. Cannot imagine what I'd make with them. So I guess that's going in the no pile. This is what's left over from making the Hoopalander, which I still haven't hemmed. It's taking so long. I genuinely can't decide if there's something useful I could do with these or not, because I'm just having such a gut emotional reaction to how much I don't want to still be sewing the hem of this Hoopalander. So we're going to put that in the maybe pile, and I'll think about that another time. That is... it's either cotton or poly cotton. I think poly. There's not a lot of it, but I do like a good tartans, and it's enough to make like the front of a waistcoat out of, which I think would be really, really chic. That might be a real close. Oh, I could do something. I have got a 1940s waistcoat pattern. That might be... that'd work. Okay, you stay. Mariana leftovers. It's curtain fabric. There's quite a lot of it. There's a lot more than I thought. And I know I've got a big bit of that fabric somewhere. But it is scraps. Big scraps, but scraps. They're a maybe. No. Looks like these are some of my bigger silk scraps, but that's horrible to work with. Those are too small. More bits of silk brocade. They stay. I don't just keep these because new they were £40 a metre, if not more. You can use very small pieces of brocade very, very effectively, whereas pieces this big of silk lining, not so much. So they stay. This was a pair of curtains that I bought for £2. I made Mariana a coat out of them, and it was glorious, and I still love that coat. And someday I'll get to use it for something else. And I have loads left over, and I was going to make a surcoat or something out of it, but it's such an amazing print, and it's actually, they're sun damaged, but in a really interesting way. So we'll keep that. We have more random bits of old pillowcases. Part of me wants to say, oh, that's where that weird strip come from. Oh. I might have to get that one stripped back because it matches this. And if I'm piecing something together out of this, that's actually useful. Don't be like me. I was about to say Victorian underwear, obviously, but actually I'm looking at this, how much I've got of this, and I think that's a blouse. Plain white cotton. I can conceive of no future in which I don't need plain white cotton, so that stays. This was the lining from these curtains. This is more of that fabric. They are slightly different because I washed one at 40 and all the gold came off, and then I washed the next one at 30 and it didn't. So they're not quite the same. Don't think I need the leftover bits of that lining, but More of that fabric is all good. Almost gone through all the kind of random stuff. Leather. I was going to make Mariana armour, and now I'm not playing her anymore, so that won't happen, but I'm sure I'll find a use for this at some point. So more leather. This one's just like a suede type hide, and then I have the metallic blue as well. Very nice. This is paste buckram, by which I mean buckram, which is a coarsely woven unbleached linen covered in fabric stiffener and left to dry. I have had this for many years. Someday I may even use it. I'm not quite ready to get rid of that just now. It has a very specific use, but when that very specific use comes up, I'll be very glad I have it. And because of the kind of nonsense that I make, suddenly going, oh no, I need to make a bonnet or a large sun hat or a support ass for a ruff or a big stand-up collar, or you get the picture. That's the kind of thing that does happen. It's not hanging around for a like pipe dream might one day happen thing. It's a, at some point in my near future, something will happen where I need paste buckram, and then I'll be very glad I have it. Oh god, this stuff. I got this off the internet for playing Absalon. I was wearing all black and I wanted texture, and this is like toweling, only horrible polyester toweling. I don't need this in my life. Oh boy. Okay, stuff's happening. That is red black shot synthetic taffeta. I'll think about it. This stuff is hilarious. It's a stretch knit. It's a really weird shade of pink. It's actually a factory second, so it's got runs in it. You probably can't see. I assure you it's got errors in it, so it looks kind of frayed in places. It's got this weird tree bark pattern all over it. I've got like meters and meters of the stuff. And I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to make with it ever since I got it. This was an inadvisable purchase. I did not need this, and in a sensible world I would not have it. This might go in the maybe pile, but I might rescue it later just because I actually love it in its nonsenseness. It's so nonsense that I kind of want it. I mean, that's why I bought it, right? Maybe. This is car upholstery fabric. It's like quilted fake leather, and I used it as the front of one of Absalon's tunics, which looks really, really cool. It's got some like chunky metal clasps down the front. It's awesome. And I cut out the pieces to make like a jerkin type thing, with the idea of making a not really leather armour. I should probably finish it and then decide what I'm going to do with it. Oh yeah, I was going to do matching braces. Oh, so this is the same fabric that I used to make shifts and chemises. Actually, that's like, it's the same fabric I used to make my shifts. My chemises tend to be, chemises being Victorian as opposed to earlier. They tend to be a bit heavier weight. I don't know why. I don't like having something this light under a corset. But yeah, this is the same fabric as I used for that, but it's black, and there's quite a bit of it. That's actually really useful. I have no idea I had that. I should make some black undergarments. Oh boy, okay. Cheap lining materials. I know I had these. I was making heraldic flags. I'm not making heraldic flags anymore, so these can go. Absalon again. That is all just random bias binding. It can go. I'm not going to use it. It's cheap and nasty. I completely realised that like flocked fake Dupioni is not an exciting luxury fabric, but also I totally would have used this for Mariana last week if I'd had it. This is why we do this, children. So that's going in the keep pile. I'll use that for details on something at some point. I play so many fucking goths. I play so many goths. I will end up using this. This box is now the box of stuff I am throwing away. So that's all the free floating stuff. Mixed success in the whole getting rid of stakes. Some maybes. Small box of no's. Quite a lot that I'm going to keep, but the stuff that was out is stuff that I've been using more recently. So I guess that's kind of to be expected, that there'd be more stuff there that I was like, yes, I remember that, I remember what my plans were for it. We shall see what happens when we get into the mysteries of the boxes. Awkwardly, first thing we're jumping into isn't actually fabric. This was my kimono collection. I'm not wearing kimono anymore. Yeah, I basically separated it into stuff that I was happy to sell and stuff that was not in good condition or had too much personal sentimental value, while also not having any value as an object in its own right. I was going to keep them and make stuff out of them. So we have these two, which are vintage obi, which I think I got both of them for 500 yen in a junk shop. They are silk. I have really fond memories of buying them. They're not really worth anything. They're kind of worse for wear. They've both got damage to them. So given how strongly I felt about them and the fact that I'm never going to wear them as obi, I decided I'm going to keep those, and I'm not sure what I'm going to make with them yet, but it's going to be something that I wear, whether it's kind of LARP kit and I do a doublet type thing, or maybe a jacket. I don't know. Anyway, these are staying. This is a sheer black silk men's kimono, which I used to wear for Visual K looks. It was a whole thing. I feel like that's a summer dress. Then there's these guys. They're both silk. The green I would describe as a crepe, and then the kind of brick red one I would describe as a crepe de chine. Probably only I distinguish between like heavy crepes and slippery lightweight crepe de chines, but I don't need to explain how my brain works. It's just what it does. These guys have fond memories of wearing both of them, and they're just plain solid coloured kimonos, so they're not terribly desirable. I think they cost me like 300-400 yen each. They don't have as many signs of wear, but I love the colours and I'm never going to wear them as is. So this is my midwinter kit. I'm going to be a happy Christmas elf in these colours. I just need to figure out what exactly I'm making out of these, because gender. But yeah, happy with that. This is probably going to be a dress for me rather than LARP kit. I just need to figure out what. Maybe a blouse. I could make some really nice blouses out of that fabric. These guys don't know yet, but definitely stuff that I want to wear and remember. I should fill up the rest of this box with fabric that I know I'm keeping. Are you going to give me a hand? Is that what you're going to do Thursday? You're going to help me out? Well, I stopped to go get a cup of tea and I've made a friend. On to the next box, which is more kimono. This is a yukata, which means it's cotton. This is the first kimono I ever bought. I got it from the clothing outlet on the industrial site near my university dorms in... Hello, Pussycat. Near my university dorms in Osaka. They were cheap because it was the end of season sale, because it was autumn and no one wants to wear yukata in autumn. I don't know what I'm going to make out of this. I cannot bear to give it away. Basically, I love it very dearly. So that's going to become probably, hopefully, something I wear in day-to-day life. Hello? Hello? No, that's my tea. You can't... Cats. This is a silk haori. It's like black and peach check. I love the fabric. It's amazing. Definitely going to make something out of that. Oh! Maybe something 1940s. Good thought. This is another haori. I'm not mad excited by the fabric, but it's nice and it's wool. Really nice woven patterned wools are just not something that you get in the West without paying a fortune, so hang on to that. This I have almost no memory of where it came from. I think it's synthetic. It's a really nice brocade. That could do 1940s, come to think of it. Might be from the 1940s. I doubt it. The sleeves are the wrong length. If not, something else. Probably LARP kit, maybe something I wear in real life. That's another howdy. It's patterned black silk. It's gorgeous. You won't be able to see it because silk doesn't photograph well. It's like a rippling waveform pattern in the black. Love it. This silk obi. Funny story, this is not the obi that I bought. I ordered it online. It was an amazing multicoloured wave pattern, so just like big overlapping waves in all kinds of different colours, all edged in silver and gold. And this is what I got sent instead, which is nice, but not what I bought. It is, however, silk. It's really good. Green and gold are good colours on me, and the lining is amazing. So definitely going to make something out of that. Probably not LARP kit, because it's such a Japanese design, and no one wants to be that guy. These two kimono I couldn't get rid of because I love them and I had so many good times wearing them, and I want to make probably dresses. Again, these should go in my maybe 1940s pile, but they're both plaids. One's orange and one's blue and red. I love silk plaid kimono so much. They were my favourite thing to wear. And like, I'm okay not wearing them anymore, but I love the fabric so much that I want to keep them in my life. Really want to go back to Japan because I remember buying these for about 600 or 700 yen each. This is meters and meters of plaid silk. And the final thing, so this was given to me by someone, which is why I'm kind of attached to it, but I actually hate it. I don't want to wear it. It does have like positive memories associated, but I never wore it. I don't think I would ever wear this fabric, except that it's wool. It's very lightweight, very crisp wool. So I am going to use it to line field LARP kit, because wool is expensive. And that way I don't have to feel bad that I got rid of someone's gift, and also I can stay warm. If you're just going, wow, you went through all of these kimono and said that you were keeping and making stuff out of all of them, yes. That is because I KonMari'd my kimono stash a long time ago. I say a long time ago, it was like 6 months. So I'm still pretty happy with all those decisions, and everything here is going to stay. And yes, these are all folded in a special way, and I was kind of amazed that I still knew how to fold kimono because it's been so long since I've done it, but you never know. What's next? These two are going to be kind of terrifying because I think they're the ones that have... Having said that, this one concerns me. Let's do that in a bit because I think that doing one of these guys first is going to give you a better idea of what. Oh, crap. Wow. That's really ugly. This is some kind of curtain fabric. It's... yeah, it's kind of standard upholstery weight. There's obviously quite a lot of it. It's got to be like a couple of meters at least. I can't decide whether it's cream or it's got a little bit of blue in it. I have no idea why I have this. I cannot tell you when I bought it. Now that I'm not playing Mariana anymore, I can't tell you when I could possibly wear it. That one might have to go. Yeah, goodbye. I feel alright about that decision. Leftovers from one of the Mariana dresses. This is linen. There's quite a lot of it left. It's in bits, but that shouldn't be a problem. I think this is definitely a stay because even if I over dye it, linen dye's fine. That's going to be a LARP staple. I think I just have to accept that linen is always going to stay. That is the purple linen I was talking about earlier. I got the purple linen when it was on sale. I got the purple and the brown, and then I got the two blues, the navy that was the one I just showed you, and a navy, which I used for Mariana for E5, and this was going to be the other Game of Thrones dress pattern with the smaller sleeves, and I was going to use that duvet cover as the contrast hip gauze. Yes, I need to hold them side by side and see if they work, and I already packed it away, but that's okay because it's just we're just parking that for now. This was a cotton sheet. I tried to dye black, but it turned out it was a poly cotton sheet, so it dyed grey. I feel like throwing this out would be a good thing, but also Empire colours are red and grey, so maybe. This is just under 2 meters of poly satin, and I can tell by this tag that I bought this back when I worked in a fabric shop in my gap year, which is a long time ago, and I've never used it. It's not the worst polyester satin I've ever felt. It's also not great. Maybe. This is all the offcuts from the E3 Mariana dress. There's quite a lot of fabric here, and I don't know what I plan to do with it. That's going to have to go in the maybe pile, because there's enough to make something out of. But what would I make? Like, it's not enough to be able to go, oh, I could make a thing out of that. I need to know what I would make out of that, and I just don't right now. So that can go. This is another big bit of satin. This one, no, I remember why I have this. This was from my cosplay days. Again, probably enough to make something out of. Again, no idea what. I'm gonna go in the maybes pile. This is the fabric that I was going to use with the brown linen from earlier. It's got this massive border print. Yeah, actually I'm quite happy with that. I think that and this I can actually do because it's literally just here. Okay, so it's not like an exact match, but it's close enough. Like, I think the brown and the grey works really nicely together, and I think the big rose pattern means that it's going to be something that I probably could wear to Empire. And this is polyester and that's linen, so I can just throw it in the washing machine. So I could wear it to Empire. I don't even know if I'm going to Empire next year. But anyway, that's fine. That can stay. I'm happy with that as a plan. So I have a grand tradition of putting loads of effort into kit for games that I then hate. I had a really bad time at the LARP where I wore the thing that I made out of all these multicoloured bits of fabric. That's a little bit depressing. Having said that, they are linen. They're hideous colours of linen, but they are linen, and I could theoretically over-dye them. Oh, maybes. I have no idea where this came from. I have no idea from where this came from, and I don't care, because it's a polywool mix and there's nearly 3 meters of it, and that is my Sharps Rifles jacket. Like that, it just is. That is my Sharps Rifles jacket. Sorted, problem solved, that's going to one side, that's going to be my jacket. I'm so happy. Weird offcuts of red cotton velvet. I know why they're weird offcuts. They're weird offcuts because I used this part of this remnant to line the box I now keep my tarot cards in. I will probably keep this because it's Adelaide's colours and I can use it for cuffs and contrast bits on bustle dresses, which you get a lot of. So that's not a problem, that can stay. If you're ever like, wow, the lighting changed, what happened? I'd probably pause the camera so I could eat a chocolate digestive. This is taking a while. The rest of this box is mainly silks, apart from this. That is a veil from that one. That's a string. Yeah, I have no idea why this is in here. It's not fabric. This is a completed garment. It's a really over-the-top cathedral-length veil that I made for a cosplay, like, at university. We're going to go with at university. The rest of this box is mainly silks, so I don't expect to get rid of a lot of it. Having said that, why do I have this? So I also have a lot of random bits of kimono fabric. The problem with random bits of kimono fabric is there's just enough to convince you that you could make something out of it. But what? This is really nice though, it's got like books on it. Maybe a blouse? Sleeveless blouse? Do I want silk blouses? I'm gonna have to wash them. Nope. Wow, it's a whole look. That is a solidly maybe. Is this actually fabric? Yes. Yes, it is. Okay. Again, that's a nice silk. It's a bit heavier. Okay, so that's another maybe. This is literally a square of yukata cotton. I think that's going to go. Oh, this is a wool. This is one of my very few kimono wool offcuts. And it's absolutely lovely. It's Japanese, which is wrong, but it's a ditzy print, which is right. So I could 1940s this. I wonder if I have enough. If it didn't have sleeves, I'm really small. If it didn't have sleeves, I'm gonna put that in the 1940s pile anyway. Maybe I can find something else to use it as contrast or something. Or wow. Oh man, this stuff. So many years ago, I'm trying to think how many years ago now. It's going to be at least 5. I'm going to go with 5. So 5 years ago, there was a massive silk sale. And when I say massive, I mean sub £5 a metre, when it would normally be £15 a metre or more. And over the course of the month that it was on, I think I literally spent like £500. And I've been slowly using that silk ever since. This was some stuff that I picked up with a vintage dress pattern in mind. It's really light, it's not transparent, it's super flowy, but it's creased so it'll take a it'll take a pleat. I think now might be the time to finally make that dress. You probably can't see at this distance, but it's that Vogue pattern. It's got like lantern sleeves and a pleated skirt, and it's from the late 1940s. I think I'm going to have to resize this pattern because it's actually too big for me. 3 1/4 yards of 54-inch wide. I doubt that's 54-inch wide. Who knows? It might work. We'll have to get it out. We'll have to arrange the pieces. I'll have to look at the pieces and see if it's actually going to fit me or not, because I have a sneaky feeling that's one of the ones that's not my size but I kept anyway. But that is definitely a keep, and is in fact definitely going in my 1940s pile, because if I don't make that out of it, I'll make something else. It's exactly the right kind of weight and feel for the 1940s, and if that dress doesn't work, I've got another one with a yoke and a dropped waist with I'll use it for something. This is silk satin. This is leftover white silk satin from that one cosplay with all the ruffles. I will keep this because that white silk project is coming up. This is what the person who sold it to me described as a wool silk. So it's a silk, it's got a kind of slubby finish and a lot of body to it. So you can see it's holding its shape. It's not flowy like the other one. Oh man, I love this pattern. Definitely going to make something out of this. I don't know what yet. I have a feeling I've got like a metre, or a metre and a bit. At least a metre anyway, so that's probably a skirt. It's good. I'm going to hang on to it. It's good. So a lot of these silks, some of them I did buy just because I like them. A lot of them though I did actually buy with specific projects in mind. There was a whole load of green and grey and brown silks that I specifically got with a particular project in mind. Am I going to talk about that? Because I'm probably never going to make it. Oh, I think that in here is the bit of that project that I started. So I will get onto it at some point. So I'm not going to talk about it just yet, but anyway, I bought a whole load of silks with a particular project in mind, and I don't think that project's going to get made now in quite the way I imagined it at the time. Certainly not with these super flimsy lightweight silks. So this is really nice. It's got a really nice zigzag pattern in it. I can definitely see myself making like a blouse. Am I going to put it in the 1940s pile? I have got a very specific colour scheme going on in the 1940s pile so far, so... And I'm feeling this 1940s pile is going to slowly mutate into a generic vintage workwear pile, so yes. This, I think, is just a whole load of silk lining. Yeah, so this is really flimsy. I was going to make a 1830s, like, Jane Eyre dress out of this, which means there's a lot of it, but also it's really, really thin and there's not a lot else to do with it. I'm going to keep it because if nothing else, I'm going to have something silk I need to line at some point. but I'm not actually sure what I'm going to do with it. Okay, this is awkward. This is the offcuts of a project that is theoretically in here somewhere half finished. Oh crap, yeah. Okay, so I spent ages at one point looking for this fabric because I had forgotten that I had used it. I'm going to put these to one side because I need to get this project out from wherever it is, figure out what kind of a state it's in and whether or not I can do anything about it. So that's just going to go here for now. This is a thing that people do, which is that they quite clearly buy kimono, unpick them, and then list the individual fabric panels for sale on eBay. Oh look, no, there's the rest of that grey. I probably don't have enough of this to do what I was thinking of, but I will put it with the grey lining and we will think about it. I have a really nice check fabric somewhere that I will show you when we get to it, that I was going to combine by this and do a half and half party coloured, not party coloured, party eye coloured, as in half and half gown. But I clearly do not have enough of this to make half of a gown, and I've also cut into it at some point. So we're going to park that and come back to that project, because I think the two fabrics will still work together, just not in the way that I envisioned. And also, I'm never going back to that LARP game, so I don't have a character to wear it for anymore. Back to these. So yeah, people, and this used to really wind me up, people would list multiple fabric lengths, which clearly had all come from the same kimono. And at the time it really bugged me because I would have worn that kimono. And then later on it really bugged me because instead of chasing down individual bits of fabric, I could have had 9.5 meters of kimono with fabric with which to make something out of. But anyway, this is where we are. And I have 3 pieces of this really, really nice navy kimono fabric with the fans on it, which is more than enough to make something out of, and this is actually also going to go on my 1940s / maybe workwear pile, because it's perfect. Oh man, so this is a whole half of a kimono. It's got a lot of fabric to it, and then this design at the back, which would have gone all the way up there. Again, I hate that people do this. I hate that they chop them up like this. I'm okay with people chopping up kimono to use as something else, but if you're going to, you shouldn't dismember them to sell, because this is part of a design, and if you'd had the whole design you could have done something really cool with it, but you're actually just orphaning bits of what's supposed to be a whole thing. I don't know what I'm going to make out of this. This is going to go in the maybe pile. I have a feeling it's not silk either. I think it's probably, if not polyester, then rayon. I've been wrong, but I'd be surprised if that was silk, so that's definitely going in the maybe pile. So this is an entire bolt. This should be enough fabric to make a kimono, which is normally about 9 meters, and kimono fabric only comes this wide. So it's a summer weight silk, which means that it's quite stiff but quite lightweight, and you can see it's got this really bold, mad print on it. I originally conceived of making like a vintage style dress out of this. I think I probably still might. It's a bit pink, and the combo of like pink and really bright colours is a bit clown, which is the only thing that's kind of giving me pause. But I think I probably like it enough to hang on to it. We're going to keep it for now. Guys, I've been doing this so long, the sun is going down. It's not yet 4 o'clock, but it's October and we're in the Northern Hemisphere and the sun is going down. This is a silk shot taffeta. There is probably 1 meter of it. I was going to make a boned bodice a la pair of 18th century stays. I had a really cool embroidery pattern for it. It was part of this big costume. I still really want to make that. Okay, that's gonna stay. It's gonna stay because I could still make that and I could still wear it. I actually have this in 2 colours, and I think I got it just because I kind of liked the fabric. These are blouse weight silks again, which I guess means that that's probably what I should make out of them. They're gonna go in the maybe pile because I'm less immediately enthused. Oh, this is gorgeous. Again, very similar to the other silks that I've picked up and gone. Well, this is blouse material. I say blouse. Does anyone say it differently? Blouse. Anyway, it's got this amazing Greek key pattern woven into it. I was going to use this for like a fantasy thing and go over some of the Greek keys and gold embroidery, but honestly it's just so nice. I'm going to gently move it into vintage workwear pile. It's rapidly becoming a vintage workwear pile rather than just 1940s. More silk lining, this time in kind of outrageous colour. I have no idea, and yet I weirdly like it. It's being a solid maybe, just because I like the colour. It's not a colour that I usually wear. It'd go really well with that green hoopalander that I made. I wish I'd found it back then. I could have lined the whole thing, there's enough of it. This is why we're doing this. This is a silk brocade, and I only have a tiny bit for complicated reasons. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. This is such a weird, useless, it's like less than half a metre of silk brocade. And on the one hand I'm like, it's silk, but on the other hand it's kind of looks like curtain material. I think this is definitely a maybe. It's going in the maybe pile. This is a silk chiffon with a lovely pattern of black and white flowers all over it. I wanted to make a blouse out of this. I'm probably going to make a blouse out of this. I wear chiffon blouses at work a lot. The fact that it's silk will only give me slight pause. That's going in the workwear pile. Possibly even 1940s, I don't know. This is gorgeous. And what on earth am I going to do with it? What was I going to do with all of these? I think I originally conceived of making like a big evening skirt, pleated at the top, and the panels were different panels of kimono silk, and yeah, that's going into the maybes until I figure out what's what with that. That is another kimono wool. Again, that's going in the workwear pile. Oh man, this stuff. I would have loved to have more of this. I've only got this one really narrow strip, and I almost want to just like... I know why I have this. I was going to make false collars for wearing with kimono. And because this has got so many colours in it, it would have worked really, really well and been really versatile. But I don't wear kimono anymore, so that's a pointless project. And I don't know what to do with this much fabric. So I guess it's going down there, and we'll think about it. This, I think, must have come from a children's kimono, or someone's washed it wrong, and that's why it's gone all crunchy. Okay, yeah, the light is going to be all over the place for this. I was halfway through my kimono silks. This one is not as bad. Maybe. Okay, I have 2 bits of this stuff, and this is exactly the kind of thing that I really like. It's an abstract wave pattern that's also kind of like brush strokes. And I've got 2 pieces of this, and it's a good weight. That's a good weight. Yeah. It's going in the maybe blouses pile. I think the maybe blouses pile might just move into this vintage workwear pile quite wholesale. This is one of my favourite bits of fabric I've ever owned. It's a really flattering shade of purple, and it's brushwork trees, autumn trees, on a fabric that's jacquard woven with a like interlocking pattern of cranes. It's absolutely glorious. I have this much. I have no idea, but it's definitely staying. Maybe the front of a waistcoat? I can maybe get the front of a waistcoat out of this. I considered a corset, but I'm not, as it turns out, I'm not a corsets on the outside kind of person. And I really want to show this off, because it's that good. Definitely keep. No. Oh, this stuff. This is super cute. This motif is, I think, supposed to be abstract pine trees, but to me it just looks like mushrooms. Again, I don't have a lot of it, which is problematic, but we'll figure that one out. This, I think, again is, I'm not as excited by it as I have been by some of the other ones, but yeah, that can stay. Oof. No idea what I'm going to do with this. That one's a solid maybe. Don't get me wrong, it's gorgeous, but what am I going to do with it? I'm going to assume that this was an obi rather than a kimono, just because it's really stiff, and so I just don't know what I could. And look at the back. It's there's so many colours and it's all like woven. This isn't printed, and it's beautiful. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with it. I mean, I guess I could just make like a wall hanging, but it's going in the maybes, but I think I'll probably end up keeping it. Yeah, this is problematic because you have all of this that's just blue, and then you have what would have been the hem design. And if you had a whole kimono of this, I'd be able to do something really clever with that, but I don't, so I can't. That's going in the maybes, because I just don't know. The maybe kimono pile is just going straight into the probably workwear pile, and then I should fill this box back up. I am putting everything back in the boxes because right now I don't have anywhere else to put it. It's not going to stay in the boxes long term because that is bad. We don't like keeping things in boxes. Boxes is where stuff goes to disappear and eventually die. This one next. There is salt on the internet. Anyway, that's enough fussing around with that nonsense. I'm actually using this to keep track of the time because my memory card can take as much nonsense as I want, but the camera only shoots in 20-minute bursts. Oh, it's in this box. Mainly Adelaide. That is a weird offcut. Which reminds me, I made like a cardigan type thing out of this fabric, and I set one of the sleeves in wrong so I don't wear it. And I should fix that because it would be really good this winter. But I don't think I need this leftover bit specifically. The only thing I can think of making with it is a waistcoat, and I don't want a waistcoat that looks like this. That is the rayon lining of a kimono, if it's not in fact polyester. I don't think I need this. Oh, okay. I have another pile of kimono silks and nonsense, but this time I'd already thought about what I wanted to use them for, and the answer is bustle dresses for horror games. This is fabric that I periodically forget I own. It's a crinkled silk chiffon. It's glorious. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. I had one idea, which was an evening dress, and then I decided that was a bad idea, and then I put it in the bustle dress pile, but I just don't think that that's quite the right thing for it. I have no idea, but look at it. It's glorious, so it's gonna stay. I'll find a use for it at some point. This is another one of those fabrics that I wish I had the whole thing, because I would make a dress out of this and never wear anything else. It's got creepy eyes in it. It's so good. I have this much, and then this front edge is pieced, so actually I really don't have a lot at all. It's probably going to be accents and something, or I think I put it in the bustle dress pile thinking that I might make a Swiss waist, which is it's like an outside corset, but a Victorian appropriate outside corset. It's a really wide structured belt. I think wearing that at Gothic could be kind of incredible, but I sort of like it so much I want it to be something I can use for other things as well, so it's definitely going in the keep pile. It also coordinates super well with that chiffon, so tiny piece of white satin. We'll go with all the other tiny pieces of white satin. That's another kimono wool that I don't have a lot of. I think this one's going to go in my workwear pile just because it is the kind of print that I would wear. But I'm undecided on it. Another bit of kimono fabric where I'm lucky enough to have two bits, so it's a little bit more usable. It's a dark purple again, it coordinates really well with those two. Yeah, it's a little bit warmer, but it's like a painted cherry blossom design on a... Are they roses or are they chrysanthemums? I think they're roses or maybe peonies. There's a pattern also woven into the silk. I love kimono fabric for that, having the self pattern and then a pattern over the top. I have two bits, which is great. I sort of want to put this in the workwear pile, but I also feel like the flower design is a bit too extra and it might be better off becoming a bustle dress. And I know I've got more colours like this to coordinate with for a bustle dress, so that can be Adelaide's problem. Okay, either I've got two bits of this or I've just got one really long bit. That's nice. That's... Again, its taupe is sort of not my colour, but it would work really well, and it does the thing that I really like, where you've got a self pattern and then a pattern over the top. What season is bamboo? Is bamboo winter? I feel like bamboo's winter. It's a nice weight. Yeah, that's going in this pile. The vintage workwear pile. This is extremely awkward. I really love the ducks. I don't like the irises. It's age spotted. And then all this is just plain. That's going in the maybes. I'm gonna have to think about that one. Nope. Why do I even have those? I presume that I thought I was going to have to like fill in a neckline at some point. Oh no, okay. Okay. Okay, so I have two bits of this, which again turns it from oh god no to and I kind of love it. The gold is, in fact, yeah, the gold in particular is really stiff, so I'm going to have to think about that really hard. But the fact that I have got two long bits, I can see myself getting something out of that. Brain is percolating on that one. I think it's definitely a keep. This I love. I only have one piece of it again. It's really small. I think it's going in the vintage workwear pile. It's the right weight. It's the right colours. I just love autumn leaves designs. They're so good. This pile's becoming quite large and very silk, Just not quite what I wanted. This is a weirdly stiff silver mesh. Like, imagine really thick organza. I don't think I need to keep that. If I remember correctly, this is a remnant, and I cut into it for, yeah, doll's clothes. Which shows you how long I've had this particular remnant. Under normal circumstances, I would say no, I don't need this. But I really love the colour. Solidly a maybe. This isn't even half a metre. It's so not enough to do anything with. Like, this much of a really nice silk, sure. Gonna make a little... I'm very small. I can wear very small clothes, make a little tiny blouse out of it or whatever, but sequin chiffon? It's just not a place for that in my life. So there's a few of these bits, and they've so obviously been cut off like a vintage wedding dress or something. I bought them as they are. I think they're cotton. I wouldn't be entirely surprised to learn that there's some silk in there. I had a kind of ambitious project planned when I first found these, kind of inspired by The Night Circus, if anyone's read that book, of wanting to do something where I was like a period dress, but building up the layers using only black and white with small red accents and lots of applique and lots of like symbolism. It's not inherently a bad idea. I don't know if I have any reason to make it now. You just don't get this kind of lace, and they are big enough pieces to use on something. And who knows, maybe I'll have to make Adelaide a wedding dress someday. Con someone else into marrying her. Huh. I have no memory of this. Who knows where it came from? Who knows why I have it? Feels like a wool or a wool blend. Nice weight. It's very workwear. So there it goes. So this isn't really enough to do very much with, but it's such a lovely embroidered cotton. I feel like there's enough that I could get a little top out of it, and if I can't, I need a corset cover, and that doesn't take very much fabric at all, especially not when you're my size, which that would be perfect for, so keep. Again, I've owned this fabric since my gap year. Absolutely no idea. Okay, that's a lie. I know why I was picking up pieces of fabric this size in my gap year. It's because I was making clothes for dolls. I don't do that anymore. I don't need to keep this. It's not enough to make anything out of.